Apache Junction Water District meeting for September 19th, 2023, and request that all cell phones be placed in the silent mode. Roll call.
Chairman Wilson,
Here.
Vice Chairman Schroeder,
Present.
Board Member Cross,
Here.
Board Member Heck,
Here.
Board Member Nesser,
Present.
Board Member Soller.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval for the minutes of the August 15th, 2023 meeting.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move that the minutes of the August 15th, 2023 meeting be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Board Member Soller,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Schroeder,
Yes.
Board Member Nesser,
Yes.
Board Member Cross,
Yes.
Board Member Heck,
Yes.
Chairman Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Presentation, discussion, and consideration of procurement of a VX50 vacuum extractor trailer from Vermeer Corporation. Mike?
Good evening, Chairman Wilson and member of the boards. A quick presentation. The Water District is looking to purchase a new suckback truck. If you guys aren't familiar with them, I've got a little picture here for you. But what it does is we do a lot of our potholing, soft digging around other utilities with it. Over time, though, all that debris that you suck in with rocks and sand and different stuff, sandblast is the inside of the vessel, and they deteriorate. So our existing one is it's at the end of its useful life, so it's roughly 10 years old, and tank has began to leak now, and some of the nozzles inside there we had to repair. We've done some welding on it, but now it's time to purchase a new one. So we're requesting authorization for $123,000 to purchase a new suckback trailer to continue with our work in the field.
Your Honor,
Yes.
just out of curiosity, did you shop around or just kind of like, there's only one place to get these kind of things?
So this is under state contract, so they do a procurement for us. So we're going through a state contract for this. We do look around. We've looked at, Vermeer has one. I can't think of the other name, but there's a couple different ones that are out there. Obviously, we don't go for the most expensive one. We're looking for something that's economical for us. But we go through all the state contracts, so they go through the procurement process for us.
Okay.
Chair,
Yes.
Ditch Witch is another
Yes.
company that makes them. Was their prices similar, competitive? What-
Similar, competitive. Again, it was under state contract, but they're all in the same ballpark. We didn't see a huge difference. We'll talk about that more as we get into vehicles, and we did some competitive stuff and looked at them, but most of the state contracts are fairly closely and competitive with each other on all of them.
How long will it last?
Yeah, Mike, you keep saying about the state contract, and I know how that works, but if you didn't go through the state contract, would it be considerably higher?
Possibly. I'd have to look into that, to be honest with you. Typically, it's a larger volume, so you're getting a discounted rate when we go through state contract because other entities use this, other cities and different things. So you're getting the benefit of multiple purchases rather than just one. So we didn't go out to individually do this. We did it under a state contract rather than going out that way.
Okay.
Your Honor, I just wanted to ask, and for the record, how long do you anticipate this lasting for you?
With our typical use, roughly about 10 years they last.
Mayor,
Yes.
we ready for a motion?
Yes. If no one else has any comments. Okay, ready for a motion.
I move that the purchase of one VX50 vacuum extractor trailer from Vermeer Corporation utilizing the corporate contract with the state of Arizona, contract number CTR 062320, in the amount not to exceed $123,864 be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Board Member Nesser,
Yes.
Board Member Cross,
Yeah,
Board Member Heck,
Yes.
Board Member Soller,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Schroeder,
Yes.
Chairman Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, presentation, discussion, consideration, procurement fleet vehicles for the Apache Junction Water District from Midway Chevrolet. Mike, continue on.
So our next presentation here is on our vehicles for the water district. We typically try replacing our vehicles every 7 years or 100,000 miles. We change these out. What we've noticed in the past, when I first came on with the district, we had older vehicles. A lot of maintenance was being taken place on those. In the last 10 years, we've slowly purchased new vehicles and rotated them out. So we're really just doing oil changes, tire maintenance, and brakes, the standard maintenance items that you'd see, not rebuilding motors, fixing beds, and doing other mechanical issues on these trucks. So we keep trying to do that. Obviously, at the end of their useful life with us, we allow them, the city either takes them to the auction, or the departments can utilize those. Obviously, as a water department, if we're on our way to an emergency and we're shutting off people's water and there's health issues on the rise, we have to be there on time, so we can't have a truck breakdown. We're in the process of getting there. So we try keeping those new and fresh so that we can meet all of our emergencies here. We did on this contract, we are using a different state contract than the city used this year. They went with Ford. We priced Ford versus Chevy this year. Roughly on the state contracts, we got prices from both of them. On a $50,000 vehicle, they're roughly about $1,000 apart. So to kind of answer your question earlier, comparing them to different contracts to each other, to different vendors and two different manufacturers, they're fairly close on their costs actually. So we're recommending purchasing one 1500 Chevy that replaces one of our existing ones. We're also recommending purchasing 3 new 2500s for our service vehicles, and then one 5500, which is for our overall maintenance, where we have a crane on it, we have our welding bottles on it. It's our service vehicle that we use for installing large meters, so we don't have heavy items that we're lifting into vaults and different things. Any questions on these vehicles?
Yeah, good. Yes.
Mike, 2 questions. One, how many vehicles total does the district have?
I would roughly say between 10 and 15.
Okay, so we're talking only so we're going to have more that are going to come fairly soon, probably reaching their 7-year, 100,000 mile.
That's correct.
Okay.
We're slowly replacing their existing ones, and as we're growing right now, we're going to be adding new service techs out there, so we have to purchase those vehicles at the same time also. So we'll probably keep one of these in the end and not replace one of them, but we'll have to be replacing them over the years and slowly ramp up. But we try replacing roughly about 3 each year.
Okay. Second question, and this is just out of curiosity. All the vehicles you're getting are 2-wheel drive. You don't ever have a need for, and I realize they're a lot more expensive, but you don't ever have a need for a 4-wheel drive vehicle?
At this point, we haven't. We do have our backhoe and some other different equipment that we can pull things out if we get stuck, but we have not looked into 4-wheel drives at this point.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Your 24,000 plus contingency fee, do we not have a set price from the dealership that we're purchasing from? What's the contingency for?
That's just our standard contingency that we put on contracts. Probably won't need it. We do have a set price from that manufacturer.
So probably is,
So you didn't have a contingency fee for the trailer, the suction trailer,
That is correct.
but you have it here.
Not looking to change anything, so we do have a contract
yeah,
in place for that.
we could start taking it off then.
Yep. For these, I guess the solid ones that we're using, the state contracts, we could take that off rather than
Yeah.
for our general contractors that we usually have.
Okay.
Any questions over here? Okay, no more questions. Do I have a motion for procurement?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that the purchase of one replacement 2024 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 two-wheel drive crew cab truck, 3 replacement 2024 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD two-wheel drive regular cab trucks, and 1 replacement 2023 Chevrolet Silverado MD two-wheel drive regular cab truck from Midway Chevrolet through the Cooperative Arizona State Contracts CTR 059320 and CTR 041811 in the amount of $247,732.42, plus a 10% contingency in the amount of $24,773.24, for a total not to exceed $272,505.66 be approved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Board Member Cross,
Yes, as long as in the future, there's no contingency fees. Thank you.
Board Member Nesser,
Yes.
Board Member Soller,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Schroeder,
Yes.
Board Member Heck,
Yes.
Chairman Wilson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, presentation, discussion, and consideration for professional service agreement between the Water Utilities Community Facilities District and Carlo
Carrillo.
Correll Engineering and Company. Mike?
Yeah, so this is a professional service agreement to do our DPR, so direct potable reuse. We use a little fancier name here, Advanced Water Purification Demonstration Project. So taking away from our direct potable reuse and changing the name slightly, using what Phoenix is calling their future treatment plant. But we're looking to do a pilot program, and this is to design that pilot trailer. Roughly, it's going to be doing 10 gallons a minute. It's not for consumption for any of our humans, but this is to get it into the regulatory agencies to say, hey, here's the 5 different processes that we'd like to use, and over the next 5 years, we're going to test and make sure that it meets all drinking water standards, and there's nothing that comes out of it. And then we're going to be working with our regulatory agencies to make sure that they are on board. So eventually, 5, 10 years, 15 years from now, when we do go to a full-scale production of this, we already have approvals in place, and it's just a matter of building at that time rather than just starting this process. So slowly getting ahead of things so that we can make sure that we're prepared for the future if we have cutbacks on the Central Arizona project or on Salt River, or we have some wells issues out here in this area because everybody else is pumping their wells. We're preparing ourselves for the future here.
Any comments?
Yeah. Is Corolla Engineering, I've got several questions, I guess. Are they performing this project solely for AJ, or have they done any of these trailer projects for other communities?
They worked with the AZ Water Association on their project. That was roughly about 5 years ago. They had the same kind of outfit that they did a trailer on with the University of Arizona. They designed that, helped them through that process. They were part of the support staff that brought it in. They actually brought it in, did a microbrew challenge and handed out to microbreweries the water they produced so that people would actually drink it, not just drinking this water. They tried a couple different things. They are a nationwide engineering firm, which they have done actually direct potable reuse in Florida. They're working on the Phoenix project also as part of that team, and they've also did some work in California on direct potable reuse. So very well renowned in this. That's why we reached out to them for this project. Again, we didn't want to build something large at this point in time, and the reason why we're bringing it as a trailer, hopefully we can bring it out to Lost Dutchman Days, bring it out to our Brew Fest here at Flatiron Park, but it's really more of proving it works and bringing out to educate the public. And we may not be treating water at any of those festivals or anything that's going on, but bringing bottled water out to them, showing, hey, this is a possibility for the future. How are you going to respond to this? Is it going to be, are we going to be progressive, or are we going to stay where we're at, where we're never going to drink this water ever again, even if we run out of water? So again, just getting that through the public and public education for us so that we can move forward.
So, I mean, it appears, unless this was a Photoshop, but they've already built a trailer that's doing this same purpose for other communities somewhere.
Correct. This one is in Colorado.
So my question is do they have a turnkey unit that we can potentially purchase? And/or if we're just paying for an engineering design so that this can be built, can we piggyback with another community, say Queen Creek, that's having water issues, to help with the costs and use that engineered money to build 2 trailers, one for them, one for us, but we share the costs in the engineering?
We have not reached out to them, but that's a good possibility. As part of this, we're going to probably reach out to, before we start building this, reach out to some, like I mentioned earlier, U of A participated in the last trailer. We can possibly get some graduate students to work on this project for us. We're going to be looking to reach out to some vendors to prove that their process works, so hopefully get some things donated. But we have to figure out what our process is first, and
Yeah.
that's what the initial design's for here, and then we'll start down that road after fact.
And one last question then, once we obtain this, is that design ours, or is it Corolla Engineers, and that they can sell it to somebody else down the road?
So this is designed just for us at this point in time. This one in Colorado has a slightly different process. some that they do over in California. Again, there's many ways to treat the water. They call it the gold standard in California, which they go actually to RO. But here in Arizona, we would not want to go to RO because you have a waste stream, and then you have to dry that in drying beds, and it becomes a larger process. Yeah, it's great, it's hot here, but again, we're wasting water, we're not producing water at that point in time, so we really don't want to go down that road of process. So they look at what the best available technologies are for our water quality, for our sewer plant that we have here currently. They have one filtration process they're currently using today, which is pretty, I guess, old process. They're in the process of rebuilding their plant. So Corollo Engineers is not only going to design it for what we have currently coming in, so we can treat that not so fabulous waste so far. And then as they get into their new filter trains, it'll help us and only be a better quality as we go through that.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, do I have a motion for this agreement?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move that the professional services agreement between Apache Junction Water Utilities Community Facilities District and Corollo Engineers Incorporated for direct potable reuse demonstration project in an amount not to exceed $199,884 be approved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, roll call?
Board Member Heck,
Yes.
Board Member Cross,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Schroeder,
Yes.
Board Member Nesser,
Yes.
Board Member Soller,
Yes.
Chairman Wilson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay, presentation, discussion, construction agreement between the Water Utilities Community Facilities District and Fire Security Electronics Inc. Company, or Communications Inc. Company for video surveillance system. Mike, continue.
So I believe you guys had a work session last week or the week before with Director of IT, Doug, presented the monitoring system that they're going to be using here at the city. We are piggybacking on the same monitoring system, so they will come to our 911 center. They currently do not monitor our system. We had a separate system. It's old. It was roughly over 20 years old. We got a grant back from Homeland Security back in the day, but the camera system is outdated. Our server was from 2003. I guess there's some security risks as part of that, so Doug had us pull that out. The new system is going to be all on the cloud, and then it will also work and integrate with the city system with some AI, so we can have actually, is there white trucks pulling into our yard, is there red trucks pulling into our yard, and give alarms on different things that are happening there. Is this person supposed to be here or not? There's entrance things that they can add to it. But again, it goes all back to the cloud, and it will be monitored here at our police station. And this is just the first of several sites that we'll be doing as part of the district.
You know, I'm assuming there's no motion on this one, so does any additional comments?
So, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So, Mike, then this camera will be just for the booster station number 1?
That's correct.
That's all. So there'll be others then when the other,
Yeah, so currently this is just for Booster Station 1, which is our warehouse where we store our equipment, our trucks, and the guys that come in the morning, that's where they start their day out at the site. So it's at Buena Vista and 16th Avenue. We have 2 tanks there also. So it's a security we're taking care of there. Our next phase will be the surface water treatment plant. Obviously, if somebody gets in there, they can get and put chemicals in the water. It can cause major damage here in the city and health issues. So this is why we're slowly ramping up for these cameras, and it's all part of our risk analysis that we've done 2 years ago that they're recommending some of these things for us.
but right now, there is video surveillance at these locations. You're just upgrading to the new one with the city.
There is not, just at this one location there was in the past. The other ones have not had it. We have alarms for doors and intrusion for different parts of it and into tanks and different things, but this will actually give us a video of what's actually happening, not just alarming us.
Chair?
Yes.
Have you attempted to find other grant monies to help with this as well?
We haven't yet, but we're looking towards that, yes.
Okay. I definitely could see and understand the needs for having good video surveillance, especially at the warehouse because of all the brass that you have there. It's, tweaker heaven for those that need to recycle.
Yes.
And then our water treatment plant, I mean, golly, somebody got into that. That's just horrific damage, so.
Yeah, our grant person just recently reached out to us. There is a grant to do a study just for external threats trying to get into the city/water district, so we'll be looking into that grant. They'll do it free. Takes roughly about 6 weeks to go through that process to see if they can poke holes into our firewalls and get into our system to show where our deficiencies are at this point. So we'll be looking into that too.
Very good. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is a massive infrastructure that we can't have get taken over or tampered with. I know because Mesa had somebody go into one of their facilities one time, and he worked there, he's a disgruntled employee, and he almost was able to cause a major problem before they got it shut down. And that would take out a lot of our sewer, water, whatever they're going after. So we absolutely need to have security on these. And with today's day and age, cameras is the way to go.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, just a clarification. So this item, Mike, is just for
This is just for
Presentation,
discussion
discussion.
and presentation. It's under our threshold for procurement. It's under
Okay.
$50,000, so we're not bringing to you guys for it to approve. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of what we're doing out there.
And then we'll keep working on grants to solidify the whole system. I agree, this is water, right? The other part is that this sister, I guess I call it a sister item, is on the consent agenda that we'd already visited with the city council. Is just connected, is up for approval tonight on that agenda at 7.
It sounds like you have our blessings.
Thank you.
Okay. District Manager's report.
No report, Your Honor. I just wanted to commend Mike and the team at Carrillo for the work they're doing on, we're one of the advancing water cities in the state in terms of how far we're working with direct potable reuse. When I go about talking about what we're doing, others are really impressed on how we're solidifying the different wet areas of the Grick and the Gila River in the community, and also the surface water we have from the CAP, and then working with SRP, but also starting to think about this with our community to start that relationship over the next 10 to 15 years. I remember 10 or 15 years ago, it'll be way out there, but it'll be here before you know it, and this is just so important. So I'm really proud to be a part of this project as we go through trying to be best stewards of water in Arizona. So just wanted to thank you, Mike, and your team for the work you're doing there.
Chairman Wilson, we've talked about it several times when we looked at leasing the Grick water in the past, and what do we need that extra 1,000 acre feet 10 years ago? Why would we purchase that ever?
Yep.
And look where we're at today, where we actually are going to need that water. This is, again, looking 10, 15 years out for our future here to see what we need to do.
Okay, District Director's report. Mike.
So I want to give you an update. We did, at our last board meeting, I said we were one of the finalists for our grant. We did receive that. We were awarded it, so roughly $1 million. So this will be, again, adding advanced meter infrastructure programs, so adding radios to every one of our existing meters, not just our new ones. So this will help with our water conservation, so we can notify customers when they have leaks, different things that are happening out there. If we do have a shortage, we can look at some of those and say, hey, you can only use water during certain times. We can monitor that at that point in time to see what's happening out there. This also gives the customers a chance to monitor it on their own, saying, hey, when am I using most of my water? Do I have a leak? What's happening? So they could stop it before we even have to call them. So major project. This is going to be great for the community. As you can see, it's roughly about a $2 million project. We did receive a $1 million grant. We're going to have about $800,000 in in-kind services. So the installation of all these, all the process takes here in the office to put those in the computer, and then all the software and infrastructure in here to make this all work, come together for us. So this is going to be really great for the community. We did receive that. So we're waiting to finish the contracts with WIFA. We should have those done here in the next couple of months, and then we'll start on that project. Won't be seeing any of the benefits probably till early to mid next year as we get that process up and going.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
No.
Okay, a little update. We talked about well 5 last week. We had a contractor come out. We're currently pulling that well. Lost production, so we were unable to pump water out of it. So Contractor's on site, we have it pulled, it's roughly 840 feet deep, so it took about 3 to 4 days to pull that. We let the well sit for a few days, and then we're gonna send a camera down it to video it, to all the stuff that we stirred up pulling that well. We want a nice clear video so we can see what's happening down hole. The contractor also took the pump back to his shop to go through it to make sure that all the components aren't wore out, and that we can either replace the components that are wore out or replace it with a new pump. So we're working through that. We'll also, after we see the video, decide if we have to rehab that well. What we mean by that is, do we send a brush down there, and we brush out some of the slots to clean it up so more water can flow in, or we can do a chemical treatment that breaks up some of the rocks around the area that may have sealed off from either calcium or the constituents that are in the water. So we'll be working through that over the next probably month with this contractor, and I'll bring it back to you guys and let you guys know the total cost for replacing that pump and what's happening there.
So Mike, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So over 800 feet deep, 2 days to retrieve it. Is this something you want to put a refurbished pump back in?
Typically, no. That's why we're having the contractor go through it. This pump's roughly about 3 to 4 years old. We didn't lose a bunch of production. It just stopped all of a sudden, so we're not sure what happened. So they just go through it, open it up. If there's some metal parts in there that we could reuse and they're not, they'll check all the tolerances on it, they're okay. But any rubber bushings or bearings or anything else that we have in there, they typically wouldn't reuse those. We'd put a new pump in or just use those parts that
But ideally,
wearable.
you would just want a new pump trucked in there.
Correct.
It's probably the way to-
Typically by the end,
It's probably the way to go.
by the time we're done, we're probably roughly about $200,000 into this well by pulling and replacing it, and the pump's roughly gonna be about 20,000, so it's not worth putting an old pump down the hole at
Sure.
that point in time.
No, it's not.
How many gallons per minute on this?
This well does roughly about 500 gallons a minute.
And it's been doing that for 4 years?
Well, it's been doing it since we've had it, but yes, for the last 4 years, started out at 550 gallons when we initially put it in. Over the last 4 years, it dropped off to about 460 gallons, and then all of a sudden it stopped pumping. So not sure what happened, so that's why we had to do a little investigation before we.
It's tired, it's ready for retirement.
That's ready for retirement.
So we haven't been utilizing our wells that much, to be honest with you. We really base load all of our water production from our treatment plant currently, utilizing wells just for peaking. So that's why it's not a huge rush. It's not an emergency that they have to be out there 24/7 to get this well back in service. We're able to supply with our existing plant and our other well that we have currently. All right.
Okay.
Next one is just a quick update on the Verde River sediment mitigation study update. So we're working slowly through this project. Again, this is another 10, 15-year project. Probably won't be built till 2034, or actually complete by that time. But we are working on the water needs. So roughly about 200,000 acre feet of additional water supplies, what SRP is looking at for raising this dam 100 feet. And so we have to figure out who deserves this water, I guess, in the end. So how do we divvy it up between different cities? We have roughly about 20 cities sitting in on meetings to figure out who has the needs, who is short on water supplies, if the CAP goes down, who needs those water supplies to back them up. So we're working through that whole process. We came up with some criteria, working through all that. We had our initial flush of what everybody wanted when they asked roughly about 3 to 4 years ago. We were short. There wasn't enough water to go around at that time. We did go on this needs analysis that we were working on, and we're still short. People needed more water, and some people needed less water. So we'll still be working on that. So we probably won't get everything we asked for, but we'll surely get some kind of portion of what the supplies will be. So slowly getting through that process. We'll keep you updated as we go through that, but probably won't hear anything back on final allocations roughly till the 1st of next year.
Any questions?
But again, this is a
just keep fighting,
long-term
Mike.
project. This is, and we're the small guy in the room all the time. We're dealing with Phoenix and Mesa and Chandler and all those guys. So
I'm gonna go alphabetically.
Yeah, I like that. Go alphabetically and biggest need.
But there was an interesting article based on needs the other day. I don't know if Brian had talked to you guys about. I believe we're the third.
So we have talked a little bit about the third fastest growing city now in the valley in terms of percentage. We put that in the weekly report. number of permits. Is that where you're going, single-family home permits? And so Sydney had let us know, and we let the staff know. It's just right there with all the big ones. Keep going, Mike.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what I meant to say is, roughly 560 permits this year already in the last 20 or 12 months. So great news, we're growing, but we got to have those water supplies to go along with it. So this is a huge project for us. Hopefully we can get some of these water supplies as part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our utility billing software, just a quick update. We went live August 1st. We're a month and a half into it. Still learning. We're on our second round of bills currently. We keep sending them out. We're sending them out e-bills. We're also sending them out in the mail. We're working through that process. Our staff has done an amazing job of just learning this software. Going from a 1980 software to a 2023 software has been a big change for us. So we're working through that process, and they're doing a great job of learning that. So far, most of our customers, we've had positive feedback, but we still have those one or two that said we've never notified them that we're changing software. And we politely say, well, we sent out a letter this date, we sent one this date, also sent it into your last bill. We gave you all the information. They're like, oh, okay. Well, they just don't like the change. So getting through that process with them, a lot of them like their just monthly payment that they don't have to deal with. It's more of a sure pay. They're working through that process and setting those all up. They all think they still have the existing account, so we have to explain to them it's a new account and work through that process with them. So a lot of positive feedback, but we're slowly getting through that process. We still have a lot to learn about the software, but again, it's going to be a handy tool. There's a lot of information that we can get out of there of who's using what water, what times they're using that water, and it's only going to benefit us as we move forward. So again, we sent out these flyers telling everybody where their bills were, their customer IDs. Even today, now the customers can pay anytime, 24/7. They don't have to wait till we're here to make a phone call and talk to somebody in person. They can if they want. We're here 4 days a week, 10 hours a day, but typically most people hit button number 1 and they can electronically make their payment with their credit card and they're happy and move on. So then we're only dealing with more of water issues that are out there. Any questions on our utility billing?
I just have a comment, not a question,
Sure.
as far as your billing is concerned. Mine's automatic,
Uh-huh.
and it just takes it out of my credit union account, except I still get a paper bill and that extra envelope that just goes straight into the trash. So,
If you tell us you want an e-bill, we just check a different box and you will no longer get paper in the
Okay.
mail.
because that extra envelope, if you're sending everybody an extra envelope, they're all going in the trash. That's a lot of extra money.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes?
I just want to compliment the people that do answer the phone, because my wife today got on there because she wanted to do the direct billing, take it out of the checking account. And they were very professional and very polite and walked her through it and got it all done. So they did a great job.
I will let them know. We appreciate that.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Just a quick system update. Since April, we've been pumping at capacity at our treatment plant, our surface water treatment plant. We don't see any relief in sight at this point. With a lot of development going on to the south, you don't think 100 homes is that much. It's really not. But then when you think about all the landscaping that's happening down there and all the construction, they use a lot of water still. So I don't know if we'll ever stop producing at that treatment plant 100% for the foreseeable future until we bring on the next treatment train, which is another 2 million gallons a day. We're in the process of doing that. Hopefully by spring of next year, we'll have that online to help service those customers to the south, but we'll be working through that. As we mentioned earlier, well 5 is out of production currently, and then well 6 is just turned on and off, currently running about 12 hours a day just to meet those peak demands that we have during these hot summer that we had this year. So the system overall is doing really well. No main breaks currently, knock on wood, and our tanks are in very good condition right now.
I heard some knocks.
Any other questions for tonight?
No?
Don't see any. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
District Treasurer's Report. No, okay. And I will, since there's no further discussion, I'll adjourn.